miss the biggest nights in MMA.
We are now set for the main event.
There's all to play for, which is so exciting. These teams have to come in here and give it their all.
Have a real nice tempo. Goes baseline, watch out.
Oh, my!
Oh, baby! All the way down the runway for a big-time throwdown.
Oh, that's a lot of fans out there.
Look at that! The drama keeps continuing, Jenny.
This is just brilliant.
He strikes. Starts as you mean to go on.
But this is the danger of the top two guys, and that nuclear weapon that is.
Oh, hello, goodbye. Score! In the back of the net. And shoots, score!
Action will bring you so much of it here on the zone.
Magnificent. That is tremendous.
Catching up on any NFL game is easier than ever before.
Going deep for it all. Devontae Smith. He has got it. Touchdown.
Your Eagles are world champions again.
The Zone is the home of boxing.
Really spurs you on, gets you going.
Let's make history. Pure power. There's no way back from this, surely.
Fight Night on the Zone, brought to you by That Prize Guy.
If you had the choice, what prize would change your life?
Yes!
Woohoo!
Competitions from as little as 5p per entry. What are you waiting for? You could be next to change your life for That Prize Guy.
She ain't gonna beat me.
Introducing the casino you love to hate, Mr. Q.
The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
The moment the world has been waiting for. The judges are ready, the fighters are ready, the boxing world is ready. The fight starts now! Let's go. How do you like it? On the show. So aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this.
Fight Night prelims live on the Zone.
Welcome to the magnificent Nqothole in Bethnal Green, London, the spiritual home of boxing. The MF Pro Brawl Hall. We've got prelim action coming your way shortly. Then it's the main card, which starts at 7 p.m. only on the Zone. and is headlined by the IBF World Super Flyweight title eliminator between Charlie Edwards and Nqothole. This is the rest of the card coming your way from 7. We kick off with Lucas Rohrig against Faton Talaj, cruiserweight contest there. Tom Welland goes in against Salah Kassim for the vacant Commonwealth International featherweight strap. James Osborne and Ollie Cooper go head-to-head for the vacant English super middleweight title. In our co-main, Dan Toward and Jack Corey battle it out for the vacant WBA Continental Super Welterweight crown. And then it is that main event. Before that, though, as I said, 3 prelims coming your way. And here they are, better late than never. We start with Eugene Makiva against Artem Ilyashavich. And then it's Sultan Babakanov against Luis Enrique Montalongo. And we finish off with Jonathan Kumateo against Jose Aguirre. It's myself, Gary Barfoot, alongside Oscar Bevis from the Stomping Ground. We'll hear more from him in a moment. But first, let's get our first fighters in the ring. Paul Booth is your MC.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the iconic York Hall here, Bethnal Green in the East End of London for Brawl Hall, brought to you by MF Pro. Time now for bout number 1 of our evening. This is a super welterweight contest scheduled for 4 rounds of boxing. Firstly, to make his way to the red corner from the Ukraine, Artem Ilyashavich. To make his way to the blue corner, bringing with him a perfect professional fight record from Northern Ireland, Eugene Makiva. Good evening, everybody. It's time now for bout number 1 of our evening, brought to you by MF Pro. It's a super welterweight contest. This bout scheduled for 4 rounds of boxing. Scoring referee in charge is Amy Pugh of Enfield, and boxing out of the red corner. On the scales at the weigh-in, an official 149.4 pounds. 4 big wins in his career, wearing blue and white this evening from Mykolaiv, Ukraine, Artem Ilyashavich. And across the ring, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing black and silver, stands his undefeated opponent. On the scales at 151.7, his fight record is perfect. 2 visits to the ring, 2 victories. 1 going inside the scheduled distance. Boxing out of Armagh, Northern Ireland, introducing the undefeated Eugene Makiva. Referee Amy Pugh will now give her final instructions to both boxers.
Boxers, listen to my instructions at all times. Watch your heads, no low blows. When I say break, step back. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves. Touch gloves.
Well, we're just about set for action here, and Oscar, it's a first for me at the York Hall, but Thanks to our friend Will in production. We're out by the bins, my friends. We're a little bit away from the ring, but we can still enjoy the action, can't we? This should be a decent one to kick us off.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. What a duo this is. And I'll tell you what, it might be a real touch that we're outside, because Nqothole this time of year could be an absolute sweatbox. Aircon, there is none. Glitz and glam, it lacks a little bit. But what you do get under that roof in Bethnal Green is a little bit of magic that sometimes turns these fights into absolute crackers. Brilliant card top to bottom. And what a pleasure to be calling them next to you.
Well, a pleasure all mine. There's a big right hand there from Liasevic early on after he caught a couple himself from Mkiva, and it looked as though the Northern Irishman was settling into things. The Ukrainian coming here with a wild record, really, 18 and 18, but he already looks like he could stun the Northern Irishman a bit here.
Yeah, he definitely felt that. The legs stiffened up. Definitely, he needs to just control himself, reset and get back to the boxing. Just because you've got the amateur pedigree and you've got that kind of style, one thing you don't want to do is take advantage and try and take too many liberties on your opponent.
Was a late replacement for Ryan Iceman Frost, so you'd forgive Mkiva for having to try and work out this man. There wouldn't be too much tape to go on, that's for sure. I think I have done Liasevic a little bit of an injustice. He's actually 4-10 and 2. It's one of our other replacement fighters later, who's 18 and 18. Liasevic suffered a punishing defeat last time out.
You're saying injustice, you did add 14 wins to the record,
that
so I'm
true.
sure he would take that.
He would love those extra wins on his card.
Caught again, Mkiva with the left hand, just a low right hand, keeping that chin open. He needs to be really careful here in the first round.
Liasevic has just stayed out of range and probably still mindful after that first round KO against Brad Ingram, where he only took Ingram a few seconds to get that done. That was a fourth defeat in a row. He's suffering a bit of a dodgy patch here, the Ukrainian, but for Mkiva, some nice signs in the opening couple of seconds, but a couple of sloppy moments you'd like to see him just iron out in that second round.
Yeah, they'll be cleaned up for the second round. I'm sure he's got Peter Madonna, a real boxing man in his corner. I saw him walking into Nqothole, walking in like he owned the place, ready to put on a performance. Bit of a messy exchange between the two there. It's a lot better from Mkiva, just disguising the right hand with the jab there, finding a lane for that right hand.
Big looping right again from Liasevic, which he landed early in the round, couldn't quite do at the end, and that is the first round in the books. Malicious Mkiva, not quite at his malicious best in that one. It's that big right early on, Oscar, you said just the knees just went a little bit there.
Yeah, he defo stiffened up, and I think if there's any way to wake up in a fight is to get clipped with one of those 25 seconds in. You can see the away corner just almost gesturing about those looping right hands. If it worked in the first round, I think they're banking on it working throughout the remaining three in this fight.
Well, for Mkiva, this just his third pro outing. 100% so far, but these the fledgling days of his pro career. And it'll be nights like this where he'll learn plenty.
Yeah, he'd have had harder spars than he'll have fights in the ring so far in his professional career, but it's just being under those lights, just feeling a little bit of atmosphere, knowing that people who've paid to come and watch you, loved ones, friends, family, are here, and just putting that little bit of pressure on that gets him used to life as a professional.
He enjoyed his last outing. He was part of the St Patrick's Weekend Spectacular in Dublin. Won on the undercard of that in spectacular fashion. Round one against Adrian Orban. He put the Hungarian down 5 times. Before eventually stopping him, and now he's starting to find his rhythm, and the Ukrainian complaining about a couple to the back of the head, and then decides to take matters into his own hands.
sure one thing McKeever didn't expect today was to have both feet off the canvas.
Quite rightly will just get a telling off for that.
I do like the intent he's coming with, Ljašević. It helps fighters like McKeever learn. It's all good and well teeing off on an away fighter and knowing that, you know, you can win the fight comfortably, but the best way to learn is to have to come through some sticky patches and some tough moments.
Again, Nqothole trying to throw that big right, leaving himself off balance, the Ukrainian, and McKeever's just starting to go through the gears now.
You can see Nissa and Kalasaulen taking their seat ringside. I want to impress and get in the groove. Lovely two-punch, but two landed back from Ljašević there, and the looping right again. He really loves that. He knows after that success in the first that something he could kind of use to his advantage.
Could become a little bit one-dimensional, you feel. And McKeever is happy to just bide his time here, nothing too silly. Walked onto that one early on. Good work from McKeever, 1-2. Shoe shine motion as well, and a bit of marking up on the Ukrainian.
Nice jab to the body from McKeever. I want to see a little bit more body work when he's got Ljašević pinned up against the ropes. It's all good. Throwing threes and fours upstairs. I want to see a little bit of work downstairs just so we can try and open him up.
Would that be the advice in the corner? Just mix it up a little bit, don't get too excited. Another good combination from McKeever, making sure that he ends this second round strongly. Scheduled to go 4 in the super welterweight division.
Yeah, although there's been some big shots from Ljašević, you've got to win the small exchanges in amongst the big moments, and Eugene McKeever is doing that.
McKeever actually beat a Ukrainian on his pro debut in Hull last November. Second time he's fought a man from that region of the East. He's been game so far, hasn't he? But after that little bit of success in the opening round with that big right, he doesn't seem to have too much more besides that shot.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see Eugene McKeever come out for the third round and almost pre-predict what's coming now. He knows what Ljašević has got in the locker. I want him to see him choose and almost force the exchanges to be on the rope so he can tee off like we saw him do in the last round. Force the exchanges to be where you want them to be. Use your footwork, use the feints, freeze just before you throw those punches to force the exchanges to be in the positions you want them to be in.
Now has the opportunity over the second half of this fight to start to assert that kind of dominance and make this his fight. Could prove frustrating. Ljašević, he's turning around, he's proving a very awkward man to try and pin down at the moment.
Landed a nice left there. Ljašević on the chin of McKeever.
And just losing his balance. I can assure you it'll be getting hotter and hotter in there.
Yeah, you wait till it fills up later. I remember a fight 2 years ago actually involving a certain Nqothole, one of the most relentless fighters we've seen on the circuit, and there were people ringside pouring bottles of water on their head in full clothing just because it was that hot inside the cauldron that is Nqothole this time of year.
Yeah, at times you can get up to at least 40 degrees in there. And as you say, when the people start arriving as well, and it should be pretty full by the time we get to our main card. And in fact, it's pretty full now. It's not often on a prelims card you see this many people already packed in. Midway point of this third round. Still Eugene McKeever in some sort of control, but he's got to be careful because we've seen the Ukrainian can bang a bit. Now starts to work the body as well.
I just want to see a little bit less hesitation from Nqothole when he's going into those almost car crash exchanges. He should believe in his power, believe that when he lands he can do damage, because you can see from Ilyasovic's reaction to some of the shots, he doesn't like being hit.
No, Ilyasovic has certainly slowed down since coming out all guns blazing in the first round. Nice left to the body from Nqothole. There's a visual better quality on his shots, which isn't a massive surprise. Fighter that MF are trying to develop here. I think we'll probably see him on quite a few of these undercards in the next few weeks, coming months.
Not something you normally see from typical journeyman, a little switch in stance, some veteran awareness as such.
Well, he's come to enjoy himself. He's got through 3 of the scheduled 4. Fought a majority of his early career in Estonia and Finland, Ilyasovic, but has almost exclusively fought on these shores since around 2023. He is a staple of the prelim undercard circuit, and he's the kind of fighter that has to be put away by Nqothole, which he's probably doing so far, but do you want to see him try and make a statement in this closing round?
Yeah, he's been stopped in 3 of his 10 defeats, so I know going into the fight you don't want to kind of presume your method of victory, but I want to get him out of there in this final round. I want to see him really kill that counter window. A little bit more activity when he sees a shot coming back from the Ukrainian. Follow up the 1s and 2s, make them 3s and 4s, really let yourself go. 1 round left. Give what's in the tank and try and put this man away and cap an interesting 4 rounds. It's been a little bit messy at times, but one he would have really learned from. If he can get the finish in this round, it would be a fight that I know maybe we'll look back on very fondly in terms of development.
Ilyasovic's last win came 3 years ago at the Light Waves Leisure Centre in Wakefield. You ever been there, Oscar?
Can't say I have. One for the bucket list, though, I'm sure.
Certainly not the York Hall. This is one that he would want to put a show in, but at the moment, Nqothole angling in on going to 3-0, but just needs to tidy up the work in this last round. He is proving very, very awkward, though, and credit to Nqothole, he's not getting too frustrated.
He's just doing everything you wouldn't want him to do. I'm sure if you asked Eugene Nqothole after this fight, he probably would have preferred that Ilyasovic came, stood and traded rather than hung over the back of the ropes, ended up on his backside, threw him both feet off in the air, threw these winding right hands. I'm sure we would actually rather he just stood there
and there was
toe to toe and had it.
Early on, it looked as though he was going to go to war with him, but hasn't quite backed that up. Spent most of the fight complaining, to be fair. Now Nqothole tries to hit him again on the back foot.
That's where I'd like to see him step on Ilyasovic. He was square on. He was unsteady. Step on him, 1s and 2s, 3s and 4s.
Boxing back with that left hand. There was a little glance down at the corner there from Ilyasovic. I think he's keen. Just checking how long's left there. Well, I can tell he's got just over 60 seconds to negotiate. If he can get through it, Nqothole rattles away those shots. A strong right hand in there as well.
There was definitely 4 unanswered in there on the chin. It looked like the ref was about to make the move. Ilyasovic still complaining about something above the left eye.
Again, a good repertoire from Nqothole, but didn't quite sort the range out enough to really trouble Ilyasovic with those shots. Gets the warning about pulling down the head, but how much of that is Liasovic just dipping down? He's not really wanting to engage in a fight here, is he?
Also, it is difficult for Eugene McKeever to get in a flow when there's referee instructions every 20 seconds. I mentioned veteran awareness earlier. It's probably the perfect phrase for this Liasovic performance at York Hall tonight.
Well, there goes the final bell. There'll be plenty more nights like this, you fancy, for Eugene McKeever as he makes his way through the early stage of his pro career. It was untidy, it was ungainly, it was a bit rough out at times. That was the flurry in that final round. It just put the rubber stamp, I think, on the victory. I don't think there'll be too much surprise about the way this one's going to go. I think Paul Booth has just about got the maths in there.
Yeah, Knight will learn from Eugene McKeever, a high-level amateur, 2021 World Championships, 2022 Commonwealth and European Championships. He's seen it on the unpaid circuit, and he would have had many fights, if any, like this. He'd have fought some real top-level opposition who want to come to box to fight. So something new, something interesting, a learning point for today.
Yeah, he would have definitely have taken away plenty from this. Not potentially the show we would have wanted to have put on, but let's get the formalities and check that Eugene McKeever is going to move to 3-0. It's over to Paul Booth.
Boxing fans, after 4 rounds of super welterweight action, our scoring referee, Amy Pugh, decides the bout. She has it at 40 points to 36 points in favour of the winner from Oman, Northern Ireland, still undefeated, Eugene McKeever.
Well, Eugene McKeever victorious, 3-0, but malicious is going to have to do a little bit more going forward, Oscar, but he'll be delighted just to get that one out of the way and ticked off.
Yeah, I know many a fighter who've left this place, have left any arena without victory, and that'll be something they look back on as a real negative. He's left tonight as a winner. There were some tricky moments, there were some ugly moments, but he's learned, and I think learn is the key word tonight.
Well, still 2 more fights to come on the prelims card here at Brawl Hall before the main action gets underway, and the action never stops on the zone. We've got a huge one coming up in Brooklyn in just a few weeks' time.
The first rule of the Zone Ultimate. The first rule. You do not pay-per-view. You do not. You do not pay-per-view.
Do not pay-per-view.
The Ultimate Fight Night is here.
Second rule, the Zone Ultimate is. Second rule, you don't pay-per-view.
Because Ultimate gives you a minimum of 12 pay-per-view fights a year.
At no extra cost.
You do not pay per view. Join us ringside and welcome to DAZN Ultimate.
Live exclusively on DAZN, June 13th. Step right up if you dare and witness a fight so twisted it'll shatter your very mind. In one corner, the Beast, more monster than man. His opponent, the Beauty, son of a devil with the face of an angel. Over 100 pounds separates them. Destiny brings them together. Fury versus Hall. Watch only on DAZN.
Oh, the Beauty against the Beast comes your way a little later on in June the 13th. In fact, and Oscar, that's going to be one of those weird and wonderful nights, but one that only Misfits Boxing can bring us.
Yeah, it's got the recipe for chaos. I spent a bit of time with Eddie Hall at the launch press conference, and this is a man who's been putting work in with none other than Rico Verhoeven, the man who's just gone 11 rounds, controversially stopped by Alexander Usyk. Real interesting fight, and of course one is Eddie Hall, one is a Fury, so the ingredients are there. I don't know what to expect, but whatever we are going to get, it's going to be interesting.
Wild undercard as well when Misfits come back together. We've got Leah Gotti coming back. I had to inspect her body paint in Miami a few months ago. We've got Anthony Taylor on there. I think B. Dave makes his comeback as well. You've been around that crossover scene for a little bit. It's fun. It's not real boxing as it is, but it's a fun night, isn't it?
It's the most fun nights because you don't know what to expect. I've watched people slap people with fish at the weigh-in. I've watched ringside scraps between people, I don't even know what walk of life they come from, but they're there for a reason. They've got a following, and they could have chose any sport. They could have booked Nqothole tonight and played table tennis and people would have come to watch, but they chose boxing. They chose the most violent yet most beautiful sport, so we got to embrace it. I absolutely love that main event. There's a couple of fighters from Power Slap on the undercard too, so some people with some real power in those shoulders and in those wrists. Yeah, I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be carnage.
And with Tommy Fury, the whole Fury circus comes to town. I think the documentary are going to be there. There is talk of DAZN bringing back the cage for the face-off on Friday for the weigh-in. The hope being, of course, that Peter Fury gets involved as well, or should I say Big John Fury. Peter Fury, it would be pretty tame stuff, but Big John's meant to be there as well. Is it all that kind of pantomime and pageantry that'll build that one up?
Well, Gary, I'm from the stomping ground, so I'm a numbers man. So this talk about the cage coming back and Big John Fury throwing punches like he's trying to get a Coke out the vending machine. Let's make this talk real. I need to know this is happening, because I'm going to be there front and centre with my camera filming John Fury go absolutely bonkers at Eddie Hall, because I know a few comments Eddie's made about Tyson, about Tommy, that don't sit right with John as a protective father. So, yeah, it's not just about Tommy and Eddie. I guess the result in the ring is just about them, in fact, but what goes around that on the fight week, that's a real part of the narrative and story.
I've got Peter Fury on the brain because myself, you were also out in Egypt for what we've just seen. A little bit of reaction a few days on. Can you believe what you saw there? Rico Verhoeven should probably have a chance of being WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Was that fight for you stopped too early?
It's a tough one because the narrative is there that makes me want to say for the storyline, yes, but the second the referee makes the move, the round hadn't yet finished, the bell had not yet been rung. So a real controversial one. I was with Rico all of yesterday at the DAZN HQ, and he was talking to Tony Bellew, and he said, look, we could be sitting here as two WBC world champions, and it did put a little feeling of disappointment in my heart. Hey, what a fight, what a performance, Rico Verhoeven. Those who knew were adamant he was going to do something special. I thought he might do something. I had no idea he was going to do that. What a fight, by the way, but what a champion Alexander Usyk is. Champions do exactly what he done. They get the job finished.
And from your point of view, is a rematch the right way to go, or should it be Ajit Kabiel next? He's the next in line. He's bided his time. He's had to wait. Surely we get Kabiel. Stadium fight in Germany.
Ajit Kabiel does deserve to fight Alexander Usyk. He's been waiting in the wings for too long, but as we were being rushed out under the shadow of the pyramids in Egypt, I spoke to the man in charge, the boss. I spoke to His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, and he said 2 words: bad stoppage. Next 2 words: need rematch. So he's the boss. He decides what goes on. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'd rather see Ajit Kabiel. Usyk's a man who does a lot of video study, a lot of work on his fights. He didn't have that for Rico Verhoeven. He was watching a lot of kickboxing footage. Now there's boxing footage. I do believe it would be a fight so tailored for Alexander Usyk. I think Ajit Kabiel for me.
Well, that is all to come, and a conversation for another day. Here, it's back to prelim action at the York Hall for our second fight of the night. It's back to Paul Booth.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to York Hall in East London for tonight's Brawl Hall, brought to you by MF Pro. Now, a scheduled 6-round contest. Firstly, to make his way to the red corner from Mexico City, Luis Enrique Montelongo.
Luis Enrique Montelongo, another of the late replacements drafted in tonight. It's been a card beset by some issues with some opponents. Marco Simmons was meant to provide the opposition to Sultan Bakhanov, but instead Luis Enrique fills the bill. Can he cause a sensation?
To make his way now to the blue corner, bringing with him a perfect professional fight record from Kazakhstan, Sultan Bakhanov.
Sultan Bakhanov, born in Kazakhstan, he fights out of Dubai. He comes here 3-0 with 3 KOs. And his last fight took him just 90 seconds. This boy can bang a bit. And we might get a quick night's work here. Hope not. I think our third fight is still stuck in traffic. But anyway, Zoltan Babakanov isn't. He's in the ring. And we are ready for our second fight of these prelims. Let's get the introductions.
MF Pro now bring you a scheduled 6 rounds of boxing. Timekeeper ringside is Stephen Pucci of Uxbridge. Upon the sound of the bell, the scoring referee in charge of this bout is Amy Pugh of Enfield. Boxing out of the red corner on the scales at 161.5. Wearing black this evening, 18 career victories, including 4 big wins going inside the scheduled distance. Boxing out of Mexico City, Mexico. Introducing Luis Enrique Montelongo. And across the ring this evening, boxing out of the blue corner. Scaling at 162.6 at yesterday's weigh-in. Wearing black trim with red. Fight record as a professional is perfect. 3 visits to the ring, 3 victories, all going by way of KO, with 2 of those big 3 wins going inside the very first round. He boxes out of Kazakhstan, introducing the undefeated Sultan Babakanov. Referee Amy Pugh, with her final instructions now to both boxers.
Watch your heads, no low blows. When I say break, step back. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves. Thank you.
I mentioned Sultan Babakanov took just 90 seconds with his last fight. That means in his 3 pro outings so far, he's fought for the grand total of 10 minutes and 46 seconds. So blinking, you might miss it here, Oscar. And you said to me before this one, it could be quick.
Yeah, it could be quick. They say you don't get paid for overtime. I wonder if the same applies to us on the commentary desk, Gary.
Certainly not. Never known a day's overtime at the Zone. Scheduled for 6 in this one. Whether we'll get that far, I'm not sure. And as mentioned, the traffic around these parts of the world is tricky. And our third fight of the night is stuck in it. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Action, though, goes ahead here, and Luis Enrique, not surprisingly, a little slow out of the blocks. I think even we're trying to work him out here.
He doesn't seem fearful of the profile. When you see a 23-year-old Kazakh middleweight who started fighting at 9 years old, them training camps of high altitude, hard sparring, Soviet conditioning, I'm sure sometimes there's a bit of presumption that you're going to be in for a difficult night. He doesn't seem phased at all, happy to come forward and throw some shots, but also take some on the chin like just then.
Yeah, great right hand from Babakanov. Instead of him having some tough Soviet sparring sessions, he's been in with Dmitry Bivol, who fights tomorrow night live on the Zone.
Yeah, not just one of the best light heavyweights of his era, one of the best of any era, Dmitry Bivol.
Nice to stick the left down to the body, that straight jab into the midriff of Luis Enrique. Staying nice and composed, the Kazakh. Probably knows himself he could get this done early if he really wanted to, but lovely stiff jab as well. Got great fundamentals, hasn't he?
Yeah, brilliant fundamentals, nice sharp whipping jab. I saw him throw one body shot, and the leverage that he puts in it. Looks strong, looks composed, and he won't want to make any mistakes tonight. Like you said, Gary, he probably knows he can get this done when he finds the right opening. It's a big moment, the UK debut. You don't want to do anything unnecessary, and brilliant body head there from Babakanov, right straight down the pipe, and then a left upstairs and one to the body of Luis Enrique.
Just starts to open up. Start to empty the tool bag a little bit. Enrique trying to throw that left into the body, but Babakanov just slips and slides back. Oh, a big left hand, and he's just about stayed on his feet. Huge end to the round from Babakanov there.
I wondered if Enrique's knee did touch the canvas there. He done a funny dance, but luckily for him, there was just a few seconds left of the round.
I think you're right. I wonder if that knee did just touch down. If he didn't, he's done pretty well.
It's the beauty of them two-phase attacks, especially when you're so quick with it. You think the first phase of attack is over. You expect maybe a counter to come back. No, freeze the counter, throw again. And that left hand, really sharp, really crisp.
Looking fresh and composed in that corner. This is the UK debut of Sultan Babakanov.
Yeah, I know this will be a big moment for him. You look at some of the fights we've had in recent times. Fabio Wardley versus Daniel Dubois, the two fights between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. The UK is a hub for not just the elite fighters, but the best fights. So I know this will be a big moment for Sultan in his early professional career.
Yeah, it used to be a time when fighters would flock to the gyms of America to gain experience and fight there on the Atlantic City cards and the boardwalk and such, but now it's in the UK where you want to be shining, and that's what Sultan is doing here. Again, ripping those left hands around. Finding an angle for everything here. Just get the feeling that Babakanov could end this when he pleases.
He looks a little bit uncomfortable, Enrique, and it's quite predictable what's coming back. So that posture is dictating the return. If you dip your head low, it's going to be a winging overhand. And Babakanov can read him like a book at the moment.
Yeah, Enrique not offering too much, just that little stutter forward with not much pace. It's turtle-like at times. There's just nothing there. As we said, it's an 18-18 fighter. It's a late replacement. I think MF have done pretty well to make sure this one still goes ahead. And for Babakanov, it's just one to tick off. You're going to get this a lot, these early stages of your career. It's about how you react and how you put away the late replacements. And we've seen a few late replacements come in lately and cause some massive shocks.
Yeah, you can never take your foot off the gas just because you believe a fighter has come in on very short notice. These guys are still in the gym, they're still putting the work in. Granted, they won't be in the sort of hard camps that Sultan Babakanov is in, but they're still there, they're still working away, they're still fit, they still want to come and prove something, even if it's just to themselves on a stage like this and under a roof like this in Bethnal Green.
Babakanov's just dropped the guard now and letting the fists fly. Got a little right uppercut in there, but then missed wildly with a couple more. Doesn't want to get too relaxed.
He's flowing with confidence now. The hands are low, dancing with those feet as well around the ring.
Yeah, he's strutting around at the moment. I think he fancies a bit of this. We're going to get a third round though, unless he can produce something in these closing seconds. Just trying to work that shot into the body again. Snap on the bell as well. That right uppercut working well for him.
A beautiful motion in the uppercut, pierced right through the gloves. Even the gloves couldn't stop the power and the precision on that shot.
What will the corner be saying now? Because this is clearly an opponent that he's levels above. but he dropped the hands a bit, was a little bit, dare I say, cocky towards the end of that round, whether he's wanting to make sure that guard is up, stay focused.
I mean, they won't want any mistakes, of course, but I can imagine it'll be more of the same. Maybe try and push for that fourth, fifth gear. I don't believe Luis Enrique can withstand another 2 rounds of that, simply because the shots that are landing on the chin, they're too precise, they're too powerful, they're too crisp, and you can see that at the end of the second round there, he was slightly, maybe slightly more uncomfortable than he'd like to be.
Trying to work that angle again. Nqothole has whipped a few of those left hooks in, which have also caused him trouble. Clearly keeping that right hand up. Luis Enrique, who's pretty worried about that shot now. He's also been heavily troubled by that hairdo as well. He's dabbing away at that fringe. Might have to call out the Clippers' Paulie Malignaggi style in a minute.
Yeah, the last thing you need when you're eating jabs all night is a bit of hair tickling the eyeball.
Nqothole just lurking for the angle in. Hasn't wasted too much, has he, the Kazakh either?
Yeah, he looks like a man who could probably go back to the change room after this and do 4 rounds of pads, 6 rounds of pads, probably nip over to a gym nearby and have a spar. His condition is brilliant, barely a bead of sweat on the man as he lands 2 or 3 there on Enrique.
The one uppercut again, drew a few gasps. Might fancy a few rounds as well, just the 5 so far. I mentioned he's just fought over 10 minutes in entirety in his career. And there's no substitute for getting a couple of rounds under your belt, as he just takes a right hand from Luis Enrique, but shrugs it off arrogantly.
I think that, despite not being a shot that would trouble Nqothole, will be someone his corner won't like. Just the low guard, the lead right hand being almost landing too easily, being too accessible for Luis Enrique. Just a little lapse in concentration.
Yeah, it was a couple in a row, and although he's assessed that he can take anything the Mexican can throw at him, it's not a good look. Good straight right hand there, connecting with the Mexican, who already has the air of a bit of a frustrated man in there, not surprisingly.
I like the way he's shrugging off the shots, backing off and rolling out of the exit as well, rather than just moving his head straight back on centre line. You can tell this is a guy who's well schooled.
Yeah, a little left hook, and then he stepped out of range and almost waited for Enrique to throw at thin air.
I think one thing that's impressed me about Nqothole is how content he is with seeing through portions of the fight without having to do too much. When you've won your last 2 inside round 1, there can be kind of an urgency to get things done and prove a point. I mentioned how big the UK debut would be for him. There's a little bit of hype. Calla and Nissa are watching. You want to impress people who are watching on the stream too. You want to make a name for yourself, and first round knockouts do that. But he's been very content with there being small portions of the fight where there's not too much action, knowing that when he needs to just flick the switch and turn it on, he can do exactly that.
And as said, he'll benefit from getting a couple of rounds under his belt. And you feel like he's going to have more than enough to see off Luis Enrique if he fancies from this moment on. 3 good rounds negotiated now in the 4th. Is it where he starts to take the Mexican apart? Already landed with a couple of rights. That little flick left hand. He's got them from all angles. That's the impressive thing as well. disguises his shots pretty well.
Yeah, and you ask the fighters on the circuit, they will say the shot that hurts is the shot you don't see, and he's throwing a shot from either behind his lead hand or sometimes using his footwork to disguise shots. They'll be the shots that are really affecting Luis Enrique.
Babakanov on the move once more. Couple that he's really loaded up with. He's missed. He's telegraphed a couple that Enrique has managed to avoid. You'd like to see him be just a bit busier.
Busier / aggressive. I think I'd like to see his corner let him know that you've got 90 seconds now. Really turn it on, and that 90-second warning might have come from the corner because there's been 6 shots without response. A couple slipped through the gloves. Enrique really covering up, trying to minimise any power.
And he was admiring his work as well there, the Kazakh. I think he knows he can just pick this man off. Takes a little walk again. Just resets himself. Corner are constantly giving instruction. You wonder if that is for that flurry. Final 30 seconds of this round. I wonder if he's going to empty the tank. Right hand got more glove and shoulder, but he's wearing down Luis Enrique here.
I think he knows Enrique that he has to throw something back just to stop the barrage of shots coming from Babakanov.
Right hand from Nqothole, just grazing the chin of Babakanov.
He has only been stopped twice in his 18 defeats, Enrique, so there's definitely a tough man inside there, and we've seen that in patches tonight. I can't help but think whether I'd like to have seen a bit more intent from Babakanov, or as you said, Gary's been admiring his work. A bit real tough exchange on the bell, but victory number 4, no doubt, for Sultan Babakanov.
Yeah, lovely flourish at the end there with the right uppercut. And of course, here on the zone, there's always more boxing to come. And on Saturday, June the 6th, well, this has been a card beset by problems, but eventually we did get a main event, and it will be Josh Padley. The incredible rise of the Yorkshireman continues. He'll face Akif Diaz for the European Super Featherweight title, live and only on the zone. Saturday, June the 6th. Will you and the Stomping Ground be there, Oscar?
We will.
Yeah?
We don't miss a show.
I was going to say, that will definitely be one you're at. Charlie Parsons saving himself a big fish to fry that weekend. To the 5th round we're about to go into here. 6 scheduled. Quick warning at the beginning of the round for Babakanov. I'm not quite sure he's the one pulling down the head of Nqothole. He's been quick to dip it and use some of the tactics we saw in fight 1. A veteran comes in and just looks to spoil things for a bit to see it out.
Yeah, he knows he's got 6 minutes left to hang on. Kind of ring awareness, know where to stand, where to move, where to pivot. Not stand on the ropes and allow those fast flurries from Babakanov.
One of those fights where potentially in 5 years' time or so he could say he did share the ring with a future world champion. That's the kind of high hopes they have for Babakanov, whether he's quite in the territory of his countryman Gennady Golovkin, I'm not quite sure. But time will tell. This is just the 4th outing. There have been glimpses of real class there, but can he now take this man out? Certainly got the ability to make him look a little ungainly and silly in there. Been a nice bit of showboating, but just needs to put his foot down on the gas now. flicked left hand. Again finds the mark.
It's a real sharp jab. It doesn't seem to have slowed from the first round either, which is one of the most impressive feats. This could be the first round, by the way. He's still throwing the shot, still moving around the ring, conserved his energy brilliantly. And I mentioned about those small pockets where there might not be too much action. He doesn't like to waste shots. You can see that in this performance.
Strong right hook there, just wobbled Nqothole. The Mexican has visibly slowed. His feet at times look like they're stuck in the mud. Eats that jab again, and as you mentioned, he comes from a low angle but with a real fizz.
There's only so many times your head can snap back in that whiplash manner before it becomes a little bit too much. I know I want to see through these rounds, Luis Enrique, and move on to whatever fight I'm sure he has lined up next, but punishment continues. Two, both on the gloves there, but
Babakanov will look to end the round strongly. He's finished every one before this with a quick flurry of shots. He is well on top here. And rather surprisingly, we're going to see a sixth and final round. One more fight to come after this. Jonathan Nqothole against Jose Aguirre. Scheduled for 4. And just as well, because we've only got just over half an hour before the main card, and I imagine those working on that will be getting pretty nervous now. We await the conclusion of this.
Do we have a traffic update, Gary?
Both fighters in the building, wrapped and gloved, Oscar. Fight 3 will go ahead as scheduled on time. Glad to say Will has redeemed himself for the position that he's put us in here by giving us constant updates on where the fighters are and if they're ready to go. Well, we're ready to go in the final round here. Zoltan Babakanov well on top against the Mexican Luis Enrique Nqothole. It should be a formality, but will he look for the big finish here in this final round? He's certainly got the tools to do so.
I must say, I was hoping Rules Redemption was 2 pepperoni pizzas, but he'll do.
Zoltan hasn't quite opened up as we hoped he would. But we've said a few times, the flashy knockouts, the quick knockouts are all well and good, but it's those rounds in the bank which are going to stand him in good stead as he moves forward.
Yeah, how many a fighter have we seen get themselves to 16, 17, 18-0, all by knockout, barely seeing anything past the 3rd round, and as soon as they step up and find themselves in deep waters, they struggle, they go missing, they lose all composure. So rounds, no matter how difficult they are, and these aren't the most difficult rounds for Zoltan Babakanov, but rounds, no matter how difficult, will always be a positive.
And again, the difficulty with the late opponent change, that would have played a part, because Marco Simmons would have presented a completely different puzzle to him.
Just click with a left hand there, overconfidence in his own ability to dodge what's coming back from Luis Enrique.
And for the Mexican now, he can maybe throw a little bit of caution to the wind, and I've never yet seen a soft Mexican come in there as he's taken a couple of shots there. I think maybe one or two of those have woken up the Kazakh. Just in danger of drifting towards the final bell here, but now coming out of his shell.
Yeah, I've been saying throughout the fight that in the last 30 seconds of these rounds I wanted to see him step on the gas. Now it's the last 30 seconds soon of this fight, so this is where you empty the tank, give what's in there, and try and put a real rubber stamp on what's been a solid performance.
Give those something to go away with. So many stories you hear on the circuit of a world-class fighter who was first seen in the York Hall, knocking someone out on a Friday night. Well, Zoltan Babakanov has got just about 20-odd seconds to try and do that here and leave a lasting impression on those already in the hot box in Bethnal Green. I'd love to have seen that uppercut of Babakanov a few more times as Enrique's head is starting to lope, but in the end the Mexican sees the bell. Job done. A fancy for Zoltan Babakanov. Wasn't quite the flashy finish that we would have hoped, but pretty sure this is going to be 4-0 for the Kazakh.
We're looking at downstairs, okay?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be too displeased with the rounds. Barely a scratch, barely a mark on the face. Got to spend some time under the lights on his UK debut. I think he'll chalk this down as a victory, and a positive victory at that too.
Can't underestimate what a thrill it is for a lot of these fighters to get the opportunity to fight at what is the home of boxing in many people's eyes. Certainly the small hall home. If you want to go and fill stadiums and arenas, you have to do it. Places like the York Hall. Zoltan Babakanov saluting those in the upper tier of this famous old arena.
Well, my first trip to York Hall was to see a certain Anthony Joshua, so it just shows what getting to work that this place can do early on in your career. It's a springboard. You get real boxing people flock to see some of the best future stars, some of the best current stars like we have at the top of the bill, and fingers crossed they would have seen someone who will turn out to be a future star in Zoltan Babakanov tonight.
Well, let's check that he has got that fourth pro victory. It's over to Paul Booth.
Boxing fans, ringside after 6 rounds of action, we ask our scoring referee, Amy Pugh, to decide this bout. She has it at 60 points to 54 points in favour of our winner, still undefeated from Kazakhstan, Zoltan Babakanov.
Job done for the Kazakh. He moves to 4-0. 3 fights down, 1 to go. And a reminder that there is so much more coming here on the home of boxing.
On DAZN, the fights never stop. With the biggest nights in boxing all year long.
It has never been bigger for any fighter in the history of this country.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Every week, it's on. So take your seat and join us ringside. Incredible! The undisputed global home of boxing. Watch only on DAZN.
Greatness is a word people throw around like it means nothing. But to us, it means everything. It's the standard, and it only belongs to those who rise above expectation. Will you do what others won't so you become what others can't? Greatness is never given, and the pursuit is all we have.
Well, that'll be one to look forward to. The snake-like hips of Xander Zayas in action against Boots Ennis. But now it's the third fight of the prelims here at Brawl Hall. It's over to Paul Booth.
Boxing fans, a very good evening and welcome to the iconic York Hall here, Bethnal Green in the East End of London. Time now for our next bout, brought to you by MF Pro. This is a contest scheduled for 4 rounds of boxing. Firstly, to make his way to the red corner, from Costa Rica, Jose Aguirre.
Jose Aguirre, 36 now, 2-25 from Costa Rica. The man they call El Perro. But he could be providing the L bag tonight for Jonathan Nqothole. But we'll find out. Funnier things have happened at the York Hall.
To make his way to the blue corner, entering the ring this evening in London with a perfect professional fight record. Ladies and gentlemen, from Finchley, Jonathan Nqothole.
Jonathan Nqothole, a curious career in many ways. It's been blighted by inactivity. But after 4 years out of the ring, he returned to win on points last November and now gets the opportunity to shine again under the lights of the York Hall. It's a big night, a night in which he wants to make a statement. The main thing is he's just got the opportunity to fight.
Here we go then, boxing fans, with our next bout of the evening, brought to you by MF Pro. This scheduled for 4 rounds. Timekeeper ringside is Ashley McGill. Upon the sound of the bell, the scoring referee in charge is Mark Bates of Hawley. Boxing out of the red corner, wearing solid black this evening, on the scales at 166.4. This tonight is fight number 28 of his professional career. Boxing out of San Jose, Costa Rica, introducing Jose Aguirre. Across the ring, standing in the blue corner, wearing yellow this evening, is his opponent. On the scales at yesterday's weigh-in, he was an official, 165.5. His fight record as a professional is perfect. 4 visits to the ring, 4 victories, 1 win going inside the scheduled distance. He boxes out of Finchley, London, introducing the undefeated Jonathan Nqothole. Just to keep everybody informed, we're just awaiting Doctor at ringside before we can commence with this evening's next bout. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring both boxers to the centre of the ring now. Referee Mark Bates will give his final instructions.
Gentlemen, when I tell you to break, you take a step back immediately. Keep your punches up, obey my commands and protect yourselves at all times. Good luck to you both, gents. Touch them up.
Well, for Jonathan Nqothole, it should be a straightforward night against the Costa Rican in no kind of form, and that's to put it mildly. He won his first 2 pro fights and has lost the 25 since. So he comes here mainly, I think, to make sure that Jonathan Nqothole gets the opportunity to just get back in the saddle, because it has been an unfortunate set of circumstances that have kept him out of the ring.
Yeah, you called it a curious career thus far, and I couldn't really put it in any better words. 3 fights in 2021 over a 7-month span, looking like he was kicking off his career with real activity, and since then only 1 fight returned with a win in November last year. But yeah, curious is the perfect word to describe what we've seen so far from the 30-year-old. Congolese heritage, Finchley boy. We know there's a conveyor belt from that gym over the years, so there's a real talent inside. I know a few people who know him well have sparred him on the circuit. He's a good fighter, and I'd like to see some of that come out here at York Hall tonight.
He had a great amateur career at Finchley ABC, but his amateur career was actually stunted by an inflammatory skin condition, which he actually had to have surgery for on several occasions. So It has been a career blighted by just bad luck in many ways that's kept him out, but he's trying to take that frustration out on the Costa Rican here. Getting behind that strong jab, which has snapped the Costa Rican back a few times.
Yeah, I think Aguirre could be the man, the unfortunate man on the end of some pent-up frustration for Nqothole. I'm liking the Chris Eubank senior style shorts. I'm liking the intent so far. All looks good on his 5th entrance to the professional ring.
Left of the body was a stinging shot. Tries to match it upstairs as well. Aguirre keeping that tight guard. He's leaving the body wide open for punishment.
This is exactly where Aguirre will want to be, on the chest safe. So Nqothole can't get his range, can't flick out that jab, can't whip in those shots downstairs.
Despite the fact this one is at middleweight, Nqothole looks by far the bigger man in there, doesn't he? Could have a few pounds over Aguirre. Trying to make that power tell as well. Credit to the Costa Rican, though. He's head down and he's coming forward. Just has to be careful.
Yeah, just a bit of an annoyance in those exchanges, if anything. No threat coming back towards Nqothole.
Solid opening round for the Congolese.
I think every 3 minutes that passes today, there'll almost be just a feeling of relief that he can get back under the lights, back doing what he loves, back doing what he's very good at too.
Well, he's had to wait a while to get back into the ring, and we've had to wait a while to see this man back in action. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, though, does make his ring return June 13th against Antonio Vargas, the pound-for-pound superstar, stepping up to bantamweight and hoping to become a free-weight world champion, and he is one of the best around at the moment, Oscar.
Yeah, he's an absolutely excellent fighter, one of many excellent fighters slotted into a stacked DAZN schedule. Xander Zayas against Jerome Boots Ennis, the one that stands out for me, but my word, what a fighter Bam Rodriguez is, and a shining example too. His first world title come at short notice. You take the opportunity, shoot yourself to stardom. A fighter all should be looking up to on their journey towards the top.
Certainly one that Barry Jones keeps a close eye on, and Barry will be part of our commentary team from 7 p.m. The main card coming your way here at Brawl Hall, topped by Edwards against Nqothole. Fortunately, Adam Smith will be pronouncing that name a little bit later on tonight. Nice work here from Nqothole.
Yeah, when his weight's on the back foot, he's throwing those left uppercuts and those left hooks, but I like to see them followed up with a little bit more work. Just like we saw just then.
Starting to maneuver Aguirre around a little bit here, wants him to come on to these shots.
I like the intent on the reset too. When he comes out of the exchange, there's a jab flicked out almost immediately, just letting Aguirre know that he's not going to be allowed to rest tonight.
Nice range of shots as well. The straight right that landed, and then he went for that left hook as well.
Just to be careful standing so square on when on the ropes though, Nqothole.
He feels he's got the measure of this man. Now the Costa Rican trying to use his strength a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be able to out-muscle the Congolese, that's for sure. Going to go back and snap that jab in.
becoming a real annoyance in the clinch, isn't he, Aguirre? Almost like a bit of a mosquito that Nqothole just trying to bat away, and that's better.
A bit more bite in the punch of Nqothole as well. Nice left hook in behind that guard. Softening up just a bit here, Aguirre. Just a bit wild and ragged from the Costa Rican.
Only scheduled for 4 rounds tonight, but I know that just the tempo that he's moving with at the moment, Aguirre, he won't be able to maintain such a level even over the 12 minutes, so more opportunities will come for Nqothole.
I wouldn't have thought too much in an atmosphere like this as well, because I can tell we are actually now really benefiting from being just outside, because it will be horrifically hot in there.
I think it could be 45 degrees or minus 45. Jonathan Nqothole will just be happy to be under the lights, managed by Tasha Jonas, of whom he openly admits he was a big fan of two-weight world champion, one of Britain's best ever female fighters, and the way she's navigated promoters and managers in the game, she's a brilliant person to have in your corner, a real fountain of knowledge is Tasha Jonas.
Good link up that, isn't it? Especially for a man who's trying to sort of put a career back together, has suffered a bit of hardship in it as well. Not forget, Tasha Jonas had to battle against the odds at times, but did it and became a world champion. Into the second half of this fight then. The final one on the prelim section for Brawl Hall at York Hall, before the main action gets underway next. Now Aguirre starts to unload a bit.
Yeah, Nqothole, the one initiating the clinch now. I'm not sure if he was almost happy to invite Aguirre, knowing he can take the power and maybe tire him out with touch, maybe produce an opening for himself, but still a risky place to be. Whether the punches have too much pop in them or not, it's a risky place to be on the ropes. I've seen it happen here before at York Hall, where your 4, 5, 6-0 prospects have got overconfident, they're on the ropes, and next thing you know, it's lights out and you're looking at the sky.
Tries to work out of that clinch this time, Nqothole. But a bit more the Costa Rican in this round, but not too much in the way of snap behind those shots. Again, it's just got a little bit untidy, hasn't it? What does Nqothole need to do here? Just try and negotiate those angles a bit better, give himself a bit more space to fire these shots off.
I think he needs to be a little bit lighter on his feet. That jab needs to be used as a lot more of a rangefinder than it is so far. It's being popped out, granted, and sometimes it lands, but it seems like Aguirre could just walk through that jab. A bit more pop. Find your feet. Reset. Enjoy the reset as well. Look at Babakanov, who we just watched. Sometimes you have to come to terms with the fact that not much will happen for 10 and 15 seconds and relax and find your way into the exchanges rather than pushing too hard and making the fight look really messy and untidy.
Also in control and on the move, and at times Aguirre just following him around like a playful Labrador in there. And in that instance, he's walking on to some of these shots. No regard for his own safety. Now trying to mix it up a bit, ripping a shot to the body. It's been better this for the Costa Rican in this round.
That was a nice left uppercut that snapped the head back of the away fighter, but still coming, grit, determination, and still throwing a little bit of leather.
We mentioned it's nice to see Jonathan Kamoto back. It'll be nice to see another man back. Anthony Joshua, the comeback, comes your way live on DAZN from Riyadh, Saturday, July 25th. Christian Prenga, the opponent, not too much known about him. But for AJ Oscar, just the opportunity to dust off the cobwebs.
Yeah, one thing we don't want is Christian Prenga to be the man forever known as the one that prevented probably the final opportunity of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua finally sharing the ring after all those years. Another fight camp, another big performance. Fingers crossed from Anthony Joshua on the way into that mega fight in Riyadh on July the 25th.
Still a few rumours doing the rounds that we might see Tyson Fury in the ring again before that.
With Zlatan Ibrahimovic, if Instagram's anything to go by.
Anyone breaks it first, it'll be Oscar on the stomping ground. We wait and see. One more round here before the main action begins at 7 p.m. Prelims action to negotiate here, though, and for Jonathan Kamoto looking to end strongly, but he ate a left hand there and just needs to be careful. He's not trying to do anything too spectacular in this closing round and gets caught again. The right hand there from the Costa Rican Jose Aguirre.
I mentioned about some of the things I've seen under the roof here at York. You have to be careful. You don't want to leave here with your perfect professional record destroyed at all. And be careful here, Kamoto.
He's got previous Aguirre here. This is his 5th fight at the York Hall, so he knows the surroundings, knows the territory.
He's inviting the pressure too. Wants that standoff, wants that trade with Kamoto here, and it'll be a really entertaining final 90 seconds to the prelims.
Yeah, I think his previous visits here means he's bought into the real kind of spirit of York Hall. That is what this crowd bay for. Two fighters going toe-to-toe and leaving it all out there. For Kamoto, it's been an awkward final round, this. A better left hand there.
A lot swifter on the exit there, Kamoto.
He's thrown more, but he's just not quite had the accuracy or the intent that he did earlier on. Just seems to be a bit wild. I think he's been drawn into the fight that Aguirre wants here.
I think wild is the perfect word. It's been, well, the punch stats, if we could see them, would have been crazy for the last 2 minutes. Both men just throwing everything, every angle. Body, head. I can't remember the last time a punch was thrown that didn't have the full force of either man behind it.
Into the final 30 seconds. Someone produced something a little bit special here, or we go into the cards for the 3rd time in these prelims. Just keeps chasing it, though, Aguirre. Credit to him. He's come for a fight.
And this will do Jonathan Kamoto the world of good. When you've been out for so long, when you've been inactive for so long, coming round and dancing around the ring for 4 rounds is not the perfect preparation. Moving forward in your professional career, it's been messy. He's taken shots, but he's dished them out too. I think going forward and kind of getting back in the groove and finding his feet in the professional ring, I think that would have done him the world of good.
Yeah, solid 4 rounds. Won't be quite as straightforward as he would have liked it, but he had the chance to go on Love Island and turned it down, so there's a reason he wants to be it. Best of the action from the closing round of this one. Jonathan Kamoto looking to move to 5-0 against a man who I think he's staring down the barrel of a 26th straight loss, but let's find out for certain. Here's Paul Booth.
Boxing fans, after 4 rounds of action, we ask our scoring referee to decide this bout. Mark Bates has it scored at 39 points to 37 points in favour of the winner. From Finchley, London, still undefeated, Jonathan Cormutio.
Victory in the bag. And that brings a close to the prelims portion of Brawl Hall here at Nqothole. And before we go, let's take a little look at the main card that's coming your way from 7 p.m. We kick off with Lucas Rohig against Faton Chalaj. Then it's Tom Welland, Salah Kasim. James Osborne takes on Ollie Cooper. The chief support, Dan Toward, against Jack Corrie. That'll be an interesting one. And the main event, Charlie Edwards, Siko Nqothole. Oscar Beveridge, before we say goodbye, just a word on the card to come. Should be a decent one.
Yeah, it's a brilliant lineup for tonight. Title fights, and for me, the real theme is coming back from setback. I was there when Tom Welland, and he won't mind me saying this, was brutally knocked out 8 months ago. He's won on his return since, and he returns to the ring tonight. I was there also when Dan Toward had the same fate 12 months ago. He looks to beat Jack Corrie tonight. Charlie Edwards, we know the promotional managerial struggles he's had. It's a lot of setback into comeback, a lot of brilliant fighters. There'll be heart, grit, determination, leather thrown. This is a big night of boxing here at Nqothole, and I cannot wait.
Well, we're both going in to enjoy it. Maybe not you, though. I hear you're down to Parsons Manor to catch a flight to Madrid. You're going on holiday straight away. Not even staying for the main card. Oscar's not staying. Gary is. From all the team on the prelims, stay tuned for the main card.
This is the moment the world has been waiting for. The judges are ready. The fighters are ready. The boxing world is ready. The fight starts now. Let's go.
How do you like it? Over the top, so aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this. With a corner knockout, still the undisputed champion of the world.
Fight Night Prelims live on DAZN.
Fight Night on DAZN, brought to you by That Prize Guy.
Casino you love to hate, Mr. Q.
Don't miss the biggest night in MMA.
We are now set for the main event.
to play for, which is so exciting. These teams have to come in here and give it their all.
Have a real nice tempo. Goes baseline, watch out. Oh, my! Oh, baby! All the way down the runway for a big-time throwdown.
That's a lot of fans out there.
Look at that! The drama keeps continuing, Senny.
This is just brilliant.
He strikes. Starts as you mean to go on.
But this is the danger of the top two guys, and that nuclear weapon that is.
Oh, hello, goodbye. Score! In the back of the net. And shoots. Score!
Of Serie A action. We'll bring you so much of it here on DAZN.
Magnificent. That is tremendous.
Catching up on any NFL game is easier than ever before.
Going deep for it all. Devontae Smith. He has got it. Touchdown.
Your Eagles are world champions again.
DAZN is the home of boxing.
Really spurs you on, gets you going. Let's make history. Pure power. There's no way back from this, surely.
Don't miss the biggest night in MMA.
We are now set for the main event.
With a shot, let's go! One of the greats! Champions of the world!
There's all to play for, which is so exciting. These teams have to come in here and give it their all.
Have a real nice tempo. Goes baseline, watch out. Oh, my! Oh, baby! All the way down the runway for a big-time throwdown.
That's a lot of fans out there.
Look at that! The drama keeps continuing, Senny.
This is just brilliant.
He strikes. Starts as you mean to go on.
But this is the danger of the top two guys, and that nuclear weapon that is.
Oh, hello, goodbye. Score! In the back of the net. And shoots. Score!
Of Serie A action. We'll bring you so much of it here on DAZN.
Magnificent. That is tremendous.
Catching up on any NFL game is easier than ever before.
Going deep for it all. Devontae Smith. He has got it. Touchdown.
Your Eagles are world champions again.
DAZN is the home of boxing.
Really spurs you on, gets you going. Let's make history. Pure power. There's no way back from this, surely.